Hello everyone and welcome to Blogger and Everything and welcome back to the channel. And well, a win is a win. And that's what that was for FC Barcelona. 2-1 home win over Eintracht Frankfurt. Now, I should probably start off by saying that was a very terrible first half we saw from Barca. And it gave this feeling like the team is a bit bipolar, you know? You look at the first half versus Real Betis and compare it to this first half. Or even just compare that first half to this second half that we saw here. You know, very, very big differences. I guess maybe there are some hints there as to which players you probably don't want to be starting in those really big moments for you in the Champions League. Otherwise, it was 2 goals scored by a very unlikely goal scorer, Jules Kounde, scoring both of his goals from headers off of crosses into the box from the 2 wingers. You know, one from Rashford, one from Lamine Yamal. And should say those second half changes, you know, bringing on Marcus Rashford, that did help quite a bit, you know, bringing on Ferran Torres as well. So as we look at this performance from Barca, I guess it's going to definitely give us a few hints as to who might not permanently be in this team, you know, for the big matches going forward. Aside from all of that, there's not that much to talk about, is there? Because this Eintracht Frankfurt team Barca was facing, on top of being on a very poor run of form, you know, having conceded 3 goals or more in so many of the past, you know, fixtures they played recently, they also didn't have their top forward up front. So, you know, the goal that they did score, it came, of course, very much against the run of play, you could say, just simply because it was literally the only shot that Eintracht had in the first half, or maybe up until the end of the first half. You know, basically they didn't create anything except for that one moment when they scored. And you have to be, you know, give respect where it's due. It was a brilliant finish by Knauff, but it did leave a lot from Barcelona to be desired, especially in that final third, because everything just sort of looked dead, you know. There wasn't much movement going on there. That, of course, all changed once you saw Marcus Rashford come on. It didn't take very long for him to, you know, get that assist for Jules Kounde, and you have to say, brilliant cross it was. And man, aside from that, I would say the biggest downer with this match was, aside from the first half, the biggest downer here was definitely the performance we saw from Robert Lewandowski. You know, you saw Ferran Torres scoring a hat-trick against Betis, and you're thinking, yeah, you know, that's nice, Ferran, but we won't let you gaslight us into starting the next match, you know, because we also know how that went, right? When he did it against Bilbao, scoring the brace, then we started him against Chelsea, and he was just terrible. But this time, I think it's pretty damning in as far as the chances of Robert Lewandowski starting in future matches that are, you know, must win, because he really did look off the pace and literally looked devoid of pace. There was a moment in the second half where he thought, you know, he could have broken through and he could have probably scored, but, you know, he was closed down by a defender who came sprinting from Barcelona's half of the pitch. And, you know, he still got in front of him, took the ball off him, and then also blocked a shot from Ferran Torres. I should say, though, Eintracht here, I saw some good things from some of their defenders. You know, there is, of course, the left back who they had playing. I think his name was Brown. For me, he seemed pretty decent. I think if you're Barcelona and you're looking for someone who can give Alejandro Balde competition, you know, talk to Eintracht Frankfurt about that left back. And as well, if you're looking to refresh centre back, talk to Eintracht Frankfurt about that centre back. I think his name was Diatre or something like that. I mean, he was pretty solid in what was an otherwise shaky looking team. And of course, they also did have, I think, Christensen. They had a Christensen. So, you know, maybe we can release our Christensen to them and get theirs. But, you know, those were the 3 standout players I thought for Eintracht in this one. And for Barca, once they got going, I felt like, you know, Rashford, Balde, and Pedri and Jamal just all came to life, more or less at the same time. But also around at the back, you know, you have to give credit where it's due. Gerard Martin, once again, just looked solid. Of course, he got his yellow card here and there, but the guy looked solid. Kubarsi, I think he continues to just struggle with a bit of some confidence issues. There's just these little errors that are creeping into his game that you didn't see before. And hopefully he can iron those out, and just get his head on straight again and, get his confidence back up. But aside from that, I don't really know what else I can say here. Barca got a much needed win, which takes them on 10 points. So, that top 8 dream can at least still stay alive, though they still do have 2 more tricky fixtures coming up. Slavia Prague and FC Copenhagen both should be away, if I'm not mistaken. But if I am, then, I'm mistaken. Both should be away, and hopefully those can go well. But aside from all of that, you just feel free to let me know what you thought on the performance. I mean, we can all agree first half was a stinker, and second half was way better and should have been, wrapped up probably before the 70th minute. Barca should have found a third goal at least, and, by the 80th, maybe a fourth too. But anyway, let me know your thoughts. Aside from that, I thank you all for tuning in. Do have a great day, and Forza Barca.